Hello, boys and girls. So we are going to continue talking about citizenship today, and we're also going to talk about Clark the Shark again today. So some of the things we're going to be talking about are asking a lot of different questions and asking specific questions. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint so that we can look at what we're going to be talking about. And then we will be watching a video of Clark the Shark a little bit later. So let's see. All right. Thanks for your patience. So what are ways to be a super citizen? Helping others, sharing with others, caring about others. These are all ways we can be a super citizen. And we have been listening to stories that have those qualities in them. Because if we think about the dogs at Bedlam Farm, when I hear helping others, sharing with others, and caring about others, I think of Lenore, because remember her job in her community of dogs was to be supportive and accepting of all the dogs. She did a lot of nice things to do that, to help and support and care and share for them. All right, so we're going to talk about setting, and I know we've talked about it before, but we're going to talk about why it's important. So the setting is where the story takes place. So what is the setting of Clark the Shark? Why is the setting important? The setting of Clark the Shark is at a school in the sea. And the setting is important because it gives us a lot of information about the story. Clark's behavior is such a problem because he is in school. So if Clark was at a football game and he was bellowing and cheering and getting a little rough, that would be okay. That would be an appropriate setting. But he is in school. So he makes a mess in the cafeteria. He plays too rough on the playground. These are all parts of the school setting. And without a setting, there would not be a story. Just like without characters, there would not be a story. So let's talk about the times we can ask questions while reading. You can ask questions before we read. We can ask questions while we are reading, and we can ask questions after we read. So before we read, we might be wondering what's going to happen in the story, or who is the main character? And then while we're reading, we can think, what's going to happen next? How is he going to get out of this problem? And then after we read, we can ask questions. Sometimes it can be questions like, did I understand the story? And if that, you can always ask for help. You can ask the question, can you please help me? If you needed help after we read the story. But you can ask other questions too after you read the story. So I can ask and answer such questions such as who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are the beginning of questions that will give us a lot of information. So who, what, when, where, why, how. So here are questions about Clark the Shark. Who was the main character? What was the central idea of the story? So we talked about that the other day, the central idea. When did the other students start to like Clark? Where did the story take place? Why did Clark change? How did Clark's friends feel and act when he changed? All right, so we are going to watch a video about Clark the Shark again so that we can answer all those questions.
Hey everybody, welcome to Storyline Online, brought to you by the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. My name is Chris Pine, and today we are reading the wonderful book, Clark the Shark, written by Bruce Hale and illustrated by Guy Francis. Let us begin. In all of the wide blue seas, in all of the wide blue world, the top school for fish was the Theodore Roosterfish Elementary. And of all the fish, Theodore Roosterfish, the biggest and the strongest was Clark the Shark. Clark loved school, and he loved his teacher, Mrs. Inkydink. He loved to play upsy-downsy, spin-a-majig with his friends. Clark loved his life. School is awesome, shouted Clark the Shark. Less shouting, more reading, said Mrs. Inkydink. Lunchtime is sweet, yelled Clark the Shark. Munch your own lunch, said his best friend Joey Mackerel. Recess rocks, bellowed Clark the Shark. You're playing too rough, Clark, cried the other kids. Yes, Clark loved his life with all of his sharky heart. But he loved everything way too much. He was too loud. He was too wild. He was just too much shark for the other fish to handle. After a while, no one would play with Clark. No one ate lunch with Clark. No one sat with him at circle time. Even his best friend, Joey Mackerel, said, "Cool your jets, Clark. You're making me crazy." One day, Clark asked Mrs. Inkydink, "What's wrong with everyone?" Mrs. Inkydink, she patted his fin. "Clark, sometimes you play too hard. You munch too hard. Gosh, you even help too hard. But life is so exciting," said Clark. "There's a time and a place for everything," said Mrs. Inkydink. "And sometimes the rule is stay cool." At recess, Clark tried to stay cool, but he pushed the swing with too much zing. "Oh, sorry," said Clark. "I forgot." "Yikes," cried Joey Mackerel. At lunch, Clark tried to stay cool, but everything smelled so good, he munched a bunch of lunches. "Well, sorry," said Clark. "I forgot." "We're starving," said his friends. And in class, Clark tried to stay cool, but a good book got him all shook up. "Now, Clark," said Mrs. Inkydink, "this isn't the time or the place. Tell me, what's the rule?" "Stay cool," said Clark. "Hey, that rhymes," he cried. Then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. "Maybe if I make a rhyme, I'll remember every time," he thought. The next day, he put his plan to work. In class, when lessons got exciting, Clark wanted to bounce up out of his seat. Instead, he told himself, "When teacher's talking, don't go walking." And what do you know? It worked. "Attaboy, Clark," said Mrs. Inkydink. Clark smiled. "Wow, lessons are fun." At lunch, everything smelled so yummy. And when Clark wanted to eat and never stop, he told himself, "Only munch your own lunch." And it worked again. "Way to go, Clark," said his friends. Clark grinned. Lunch is fun." At playtime, Clark told himself, "Easy does it, that's the way. Then my friends will let me play." And playtime was fun. Once more, Clark loved his life. But then, a shadow fell across the playground. A ginormous shadow with tentacles galore. "It's a new kid, and he looks scary," cried Joey Mackerel. "Swim for your lives!" The squid squashed the slide, and it snapped off the swings. "Oops, my bad," said the new kid. "Wait," said Clark. "He just wants to play. Let's find a way." And he swam at the new kid with all his might. Clark played harder than he ever had before. Upsy-downsy, spin-a-majig. Why, he even made up a new game. Tail Wumpalumpus. "Wow, that was fun," said the new kid breathlessly. and he settled down. If you want to come to school, you gotta stay cool, said Clark. That's right, Clark, said Mrs. Inky-Dink. And thanks for taking care of our new classmate, Sid the Squid. Hooray for Clark the Shark! Everyone cheered. That night, Clark's mother asked, "What did you learn at school, dear?" There's a time and a place for everything, Clark said. Sometimes you stay cool. But sometimes a shark's gotta do what a shark's gotta do.
Miss Coco to the front desk. Miss Coco.
All right, boys and girls, so we watched Clark the Shark again, and now we're going to look at our questions to see how we can answer them. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. So these were our questions. Who was the main character? What was the central idea of the story? When did the other students start to like Clark? Where did the story take place? Why did Clark change? And how did Clark's friends feel and act when he changed? So here are our answers. Clark was the main character or topic of the story. The central idea of the story was that Clark needed to change his behavior. The other students liked Clark when he was able to control himself. The story took place in a school under the sea. Clark changed because he wanted to have friends and to do well in school. His friends felt happy and cheered Clark on for changing. Then, boys and girls, we have our high frequency words that we did yesterday. We've got and, a, will, to, got, you, and go. So those are our high frequency words, and we'll do a cheer for 3 of the words. Let's do and. So get out your hands and clapping along with the letters. A-N-D, 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 and. Let's do will. W-I-L-L, 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 will. And let's do you. Y-O-U, 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 you. All right, boys and girls, thanks for doing such a great job today. I will see you at another time. Keep being super citizens and being helpful and kind and sharing and caring. Bye.